Hello friends, once again welcome back to the classes of modern history for civil services. Now there is a slight correction to be made from the last video that I posted on Battle of Plassey. The correction is we can see that in the first shot of the video, we can see that I have written that Battle of Plassey to be on 23rd June 1956. It's not 1756. It's not 1756. It is 1757. We should always remember that Battle of Plassey was fought 100 years, exactly 100 years before what we call the First War of Independence, 1857, or the Western scholars is referring to it as the first. The Western scholar used to refer it to as the Sepoy Mutiny. Okay, moving forward, two things to be kept in mind regarding the 1757 Battle of Plassey. Battle of Plassey and Battle of Buxar, 1764. Okay, regarding the Battle of Plassey, the 1757, one thing should remember is that one person that played a very significant role here was Robert Clive, and in the Battle of Buxar we have it in 1764, and it was on the British side. We have Hector Munro. So these two names should be remembered. People get confused. People most of the time think that it becomes, we take it for granted that, and we don't go for much of in-depth looking into it, because we most of the time we feel like Battle of Buxar was also led by Robert Clive, but it's not. Battle of Buxar was led, the British Army was led by, or rather the East India Company was led forward by Hector Munro. So this is a very important, these two are very important things that should be remembered. Okay, moving forward. So we see that at the end of 1764, now let's see the map of India. The drawing is not so good, but it will do. Now we see that at the end of 1764, the British had captured Bengal, that used to also have Orissa during those days, and Bihar, that is present Bihar and Jharkhand. Also, they managed to take a large chunk of Uttar Pradesh. Now, Awadh was under their control. 1764, we have Awadh, we have Bengal, Bihar, Orissa. So these were all the port area. Already they had a trading port here at Masulipatanam. There's something around 1610-11 around, and they had already taken command over Tamil Nadu, today's Tamil Nadu. Then it was called the Carnatic. The word comes from the word Carnatic music. We might have heard of it, that Carnatic. This is the Carnatic region, the Tamil Nadu region. And here we had the Mangalore or the Karnataka region. To this Karnataka region, yesterday is Mysore. So Mysore was under Tipu Sultan and Hyder Ali. So we'll see that eventually Mysore will also come under them, and Carnatic is already under their supervision, so as to say. Here we had the state of today's Telangana or Hyderabad. So Hyderabad is slowly and steadily coming under the fold of the British Empire, and finally it will fold up in 1799 under subsidiary alliance under Wellesley. So these things will be unfolding, but let us remember the Carnatic, for a time being, let's remember the Carnatic has been kind of subsued by the British, and the French influence was earlier quite a bit in the lower portion, the southern portion of in the subcontinent, but after the end of the Anglo-French rivalry that span across three continents of Europe, North America, and Asia, at the end of the day, the French finally withdrew from the Indian subcontinent, and with this, the entire South Asia, or we can call it the southern part of India, came under the influence of British East India Company. And with this, the Carnatic was already under their supervision or under their fold. Now, after Battle of Buxar, the Awadh plain, I have already told you in the earlier video, the Awadh plain and this entire Gangetic plain, this is the revenue generating portion of the mainland India even today. And here in this portion we have, this is the portion where we have high around 90-95% of jute production is done in this area. Today's Bangladesh and West Bengal and some parts of Assam. And then we have in Western UP, we have in this portion, the Western UP, we have cultivation of wheat. Here we have rice, wheat mixed up. Bihar is a very fertile plain made by the river of Son. We'll see, see, the thing is fine. When you started, we should be ending this. The thing is, when we're speaking of India, I'm sorry for the map that I'm trying, but it is just to understand. Okay, this is India. This is a okay, this is the Himalayas. Syntaxal band, you will learn it in geography. This is called a syntaxal band. Here we have two peaks. One is called the Nanga Parbat and another is called the Namcha Barwa. Here we have Namcha Barwa, and here we have, this is Nanga Parbat. So the Indian plate comes and collides against the Eurasian plate, and this syntaxal band is formed, along which the greater Himalayan range is formed. So looking into the thing, we'll see that somewhere here we'll find Ganga flows, and somewhere here. Okay, so you can see that from somewhere here around in the Uttarakhand Gangotri area, Ganga comes and it flows through it, and it breaks into the Bay of Bengal. Now what happens is that this is the way Ganga is flowing. Here we have Ganga, then we'll have Yamuna, then here we'll have Ram Ganga, then Ghagra, Gomti, then we have Ghagra, Gandak, Kosi, beneath we'll be having the Chambal flowing coming here, the Son, Betwa, Kane. Here we'll be having the Damodar, the Kona River, Noil River, and whole lot of rivers. As you can see, the whole loads of rivers are depositing their sediment and the silt in this region of the country. So this part, and remember, this is actually this is actually a trench area. This entire area is actually a trench area. This entire area is actually a trench area that was formed when the Indian plate came and collided against the Eurasian plate. So when we're talking about history, we should look actually when you'll be learning geography, you will learn that history plays a significant role, geography plays a significant role in evolving the maps of history. There are reasons why, as I've discussed in another reason on a video, why after the fall of Aurangzeb the Mughal Empire crumbled, because he went after the Deccan. But the thing is, this entire is one solid rock. एक बड़ा पत्थर है, ये पूरा एक बड़ा पत्थर है, and we can see that this is alluvial, soft alluvial soil here. But here we have a rock, a very big rock over here, and we don't have much of river systems here or developed river systems here in this region of the country as we have here. So once the British have taken control of this region, we can see abundance of agriculture prosperity can be happening in this region of the country. So once the British have taken this part, there was no stopping them, because this part would be giving them a huge amount of revenue generation, and this is what is necessary to run a country, a revenue. And as we all know, British only intention was to take the money out of India and pump it into the British imperialism and their capitalism and industries. So okay, so I suppose we're clear up to this part, that this is a very tactful thing that British have already done. Now what happens is, now British have taken this region, they have this region in control, and now they will need the other part of the country. So one very important region was this region. This is the Mysore region, or the present day Karnataka or Mysore. Yes. So the kingdom of Mysore. Now when we say about Mysore and Karnataka, one thing that invariably comes to our mind is the Tipu Sultan, because most of us know about the Battle of Srirangapatnam that was fought between Tipu Sultan and the British army. And here, this is the region that they need. Now there is specific reason why they needed this region, because this region had many rivers, some of the very important rivers flowing through this region. As we know, we had still today we have the unresolved issue of Kaveri water. Again, from top we have the Godavari flowing, you have the Krishna river flowing from this region. So this is a very important region, because this is the region from where most of that, of course in Maharashtra also, and most of the rivers are flowing, or their river basins are being found in this area. So they needed Karnataka, because Karnataka was going, because see, British knew that the Marathas that were ruling in this region, the Marathas were ruling in this region. The Marathas were ruling in this region now, but the British knew that the Marathas were already very weak after the 1961 war with Ahmad. They had nothing to do, and British knew that the Marathas could be crushed easily. So British knew that these people, the Marathas, can be crushed easily. One thing that is going to be a formidable challenge to the British Empire in India is the rising Mysore kingdom, and this is what they wanted to deal with first. So speaking of Mysore, so Mysore was founded in 17th century. And is ruled by a hereditary ruler of a kingdom or a dynasty called the Udayar. I'm sorry, I might be wrong in the pronunciation, but this is how it is spelled, Udayar. So they hail on to the ruling of this area of Mysore, the Udayars. But within time, there emerged a military man within the ranks of the Udayar, and his name was Hyder Ali. Hyder Ali was a sepoy, and he rose to ranks. Of course, he rose to ranks in the Mysorean army, and later on, he took over the throne of Mysore, and he became the ruler of Mysore. Now, as soon as he became the ruler of Mysore, see, we don't need to much go into the into the who succeeded whom, whatever. Just we need to know the gist that yes, 17th century Mysore kingdom was established by whom? It was established by the Udayars. During the 17th century, who took over? Hyder Ali took over. Hyder Ali was, first of all, he was a boy in the Mysorean army. Later on, he rose to ranks in the ranks of the Mysorean army, and later on, he took over the throne of the Mysorean army of the kingdom of Mysore. And later on, he went on to establish his own kingdom. As soon as he took over, he took over the Mysore around 1761, the same time when the Panipat was happening, the third battle of Panipat was happening. So he took it over. Once Hyder Ali took over, the one thing he did was, now this should be remembered, he established a modern armament factory. A modern armament factory is something that was being given not given much importance during the Indian medieval period. Now he established an arsenal at Dinigul. And this arsenal was very important because later on we'll know that the Mysorean army, they use very modern weapon systems. Mysorean army under Tipu Sultan was the first to use rockets. Or so as to call these were the RDM missiles of the middle period. It was the first to use missiles or rockets in warfare, and they were very advanced. They were looking for new endeavors in the field, and once they just settled, now 1761, Mysore gets into the hand of Hyder Ali. Hyder Ali shifts starts establishing a arsenal at Dindigul. It's in Tamil Nadu. Today it's Tamil Nadu. So 1761 it happens, and 1767 and 69, the first skirmishes between the British and the Mysorean kingdom happens. What happens? 761, first Anglo-Mysore war. This is the first Anglo-Mysore war. Now remember, Mysore party, we had either British. The British side, we had Varalist. The Varalist was the governor. Now, in the late 1766, Hyder Ali found that an alliance was built against him, comprising of the British. Now there is an alliance. We see there's an alliance. See, in war there always been alliance. In modern time we have alliance. We have in the modern world we have alliance. We have the NATO, one side. To some extent we have an ASEAN alliance. We have RCEP alliances, but these are economic alliances. Then NATO is a what do you call it? NATO is a military alliance. We have and to counter NATO, we have the Warsaw Pact, and this is headed by Russia. Russia has its own agenda, and NATO is being led by US. Okay, so 1766, Hyder Ali finds that there is a plot happening, and the plot is happening to dethrone Hyder Ali and capture Mysore. Now, who was plotting against him? Now here it's very important to notice that we had a alliance coming up, and the alliance was between the British plus we had a Carnatic. I already told you the Carnatic, the Tamil Nadu region, today's Tamil Nadu region, the Carnatic. The Carnatic was under Nawab. With the Carnatic, and then with the Marathas, and then we had the Nizam. So this is a four-party quadriangular alliance with the British. We had the British with the Carnatic, Tamil Nadu, Marathas, and the Nizam. So there's four parties teaming up versus Mysore. And when you look into the map, this thing will be clearer. Now let's take up the southern India. This is the South India. Okay, so here we have the Carnatic region, Here we have Mysore. This is Carnatic. This is Mysore. Let's have it in. Okay, this is Mysore. This is Carnatic. This is Mysore. Now, this is Hyderabad. Sorry. This region is Nizam's. Nizam. This is the Hyderabad region, and then we have the Marathas here. This region is by the Marathas. So you can see the British was already in this region. We knew it, the UP region, UP Bihar. The British said, okay. He said plus, plus, plus. British had alliance, and British surrounded. Now this is very important. Let's see. British had surrounded Marathas from all sides to attack the Maratha, attack from all sides. Now, once Hyder came to know of this in 1766, he somehow managed to bribe the Marathas as separate and the Nizam. He said he bribed the Marathas and the Nizam. He said, okay, fine, we have been here for a long time, let's not wait. And he tactfully sided these two parties. Now he was left with the British and the Carnatic. A war fought, but, and he actually Hyder Ali declared this war against a coalition, and the war was not much fruitful, and it ended with a treaty. Now, the course of the war, who defeated whom, is not that necessary for civil services. What is necessary is, see, we need to know why. See, always in a war, we need to know why the war happened, what was the outcome, and who were the leaders. That is sufficient, because see, we will be having whole lots of wars happening. It is not possible to remember the entire course of war for every war. So what we need to remember is that we had a first war here, 1767-69, Hyder versus Royalist, and this war came down, and there was a truce between the two parties, and truce was that each party will respect each other's decision or each other's territory. They will respect each other's territories and will no longer attack each other's territory. This the Mysore will not attack the British territory. The British will not attack the Mysore territory. That was going for Jaisethe. And two more over that, they had a mutual defensive alliance. Now this is important. They had a mutual defensive alliance. Who had this? This was between the Mysorean army under the Mysorean kingdom under Hyder Ali plus the British under Royalist. So under this, under mutual defensive alliance, it is sorted that if Mysore was being attacked by some other kingdom, the British would come to rescue them, and if the British were being attacked by other kingdom, the Mysorean kingdom would come to here to save them. With this, the Treaty of Madras, this is called 1769. This is the Treaty of Madras, and with this, the first war, Anglo-Mysore War, came to an end. But this did not stop the British. How could this wait? Because their main aim was to get Mysore. Mysore was a sonika chiria for them, because this was the only thing that could have stopped the juggernaut, the British juggernaut that was going to happen in India. We'll see that later on, the British juggernaut that happens. Britain literally takes up anything and everything that comes in their way. Like 1856, we have Lord Dalhousie. He will be like taking out like kingdoms, like taking sip for tea, and this is going to get really nasty in the later phase. But and they knew that Marathas were down, Carnatic was gone, Nizam was limping because already Asaf Jah was gone. So Asaf Jah was the Nizamul Mulk of the Mughal Empire, and he broke away. He severed his ties from the central Mughal ruler, and he was having a separate state of Hyderabad. So everything was dismembered, and it is the most important phase. British understood it because the entire the erstwhile Mughal territories have now been demolished, dismembered, and was of no good use, and there was not a much a powerful kingdom left surviving other than Mysore. Mysore was the only thing that could have stopped the British juggernaut. So they kept silent for a few years, and in 1780 another war started between Hyder Ali, Mysore, and this time we have Warren Hastings. Warren Hastings was the Governor General of Bengal. He was the Governor General of Bengal. Warren Hastings. Now, there's a very significant thing happening. Why did this war happen? The reason. The war happened because in 1771, Marathas attacks Mysore. Now, in 1769, the Mysore already had a mutual defensive alliance with British. The British should have come and attacked the helped the Mysoreans and attacked the Marathas, stop the war, but the British remained silent. They did not attack. This was against the treaty. They had defied the treaty. The British have unilaterally defied the treaty. The treaty was violated, and this angered Hyder Ali. कि treaty कर लिया हमारे साथ, फिर हमें को बचाने नहीं आए. What is the use of this treaty? To add on to this, there was a port called Mahe. That is important. Mahe. Excuse me. This is Mahe. Mahe was a French trading port. The French trading port. And Mahe now in today's day, Mahe comes under Puducherry. The Mahe was a French trading port, and it was under the military defense of Hyder Ali. See, the thing was that the Mysorean army, the Mysorean kingdom, Hyder Ali disliked British, but he liked the French and he was also using the French army to train his own army in lines of European army, to discipline them and to use the matchlock rifles and all those new and upgraded rifle system that was being utilized and brought into the scenario. So they were having it. Mysore and French were teaming up. In many aspects, Mysore and French were teaming up, and within Mysore there was Mahe. This is Mysore. This is Mahe. So this is under Mysore's military rule, and British tried to capture this. So this infuriated Hyder Ali, and a war was fought between them. So again there was an alliance, and again Hyder Ali had to make peace with the Marathas and the Nizam. Marathas and Nizam were paid, and a peace was made between them, and now the war started. In the war that started, there was a battle. Now this battle is important. There was a battle at Porto Novo. In this battle, Hyder Ali was defeated. Hyder Ali was defeated in this battle, and they, in the meantime, as the war moved on, war moved on, in the meantime, the Marathas and the Nizam came with the British. Now, this was happening. This was going to happen because in the meantime, we have 1780. This war lasted from 1780 to 84, and in the meantime, when we'll study the Anglo-Maratha War, we'll see that in 1782 there's a Treaty of Salbai between the Marathas and the British. In this Treaty of Salbai, the Marathas and the British will have a mutual pact, and in that pact, the Marathas will again go for a mutual defensive alliance, in which the same matter the British had with Mysore, and because of this, the Marathas lost, and in starting, Hyder Ali could keep them at bay, but after Treaty of Salbai, they are bound to give, and we already know that Marathas were very much, they were very proud and very fiery and very valiant warriors, and they would keep up to the promises. They'd always keep up to promises, and as they promised, and it is more of an Indian culture that once you promise someone, you would give it. Like the Rajput also were famous for that. Once you promise someone, you would give it even if it is at the stake of your life. So Maratha said, okay, fine, we have given you a promise in Treaty of Salbai 1782 that we'll be helping you if you are in the middle of a war. And here, British were in the middle of a war with the Mysore. The Marathas came to their rescue, and then we did the Nizam too came to rescue. There was a war, in between war, in 1782, Hyder Ali died, and the baton went on with his son Tipu Sultan. In 1782, in between the war, Tipu became the leader. Now we have Tipu Sultan. Tipu continued the war, but again it ended in a draw. This is what was happening because we had a very fierce struggle, and mind you, this is the last struggle that will be happening on the Indian soil from an Indian ruler. Because after that, there will not a single Indian ruler who could even come and face the British. Now, after this we had the Treaty of Mangaluru. And with this treaty, the war came to a draw. That is, neither side won, and it came to a rest. Now, again, once British tried to take over Mysore, they failed. Again, they tried to take over Mysore. Hyder Ali died, which is a very golden opportunity for them. But then his son, the Tiger of Mysore, rose to the occasion, and he rose to the occasion in a very good manner. And yes, he put a very stiff opposition to a tripartite alliance that was set between the Nizam, the Marathas, and the British, and hence the second Anglo-Mysore War came to draw with the Treaty of Mangaluru. Now, this was not always going to happen. The British were again looking out for opportunities to annex Mysore. In this opportunity came to them in 1790. They waited for a few years, and 1790 they came up. Now, today's Kerala is called Travancore. Tipu Sultan had differences with the ruler of the Travancore regarding the purchase of two ports. There are two ports, and there were some indifferences between Tipu Sultan and the ruler of Travancore, and this led to a war between the Mysorean army and Travancore. Taking advantage of this, now the new Governor General of India, Cornwallis. Cornwallis was the Governor General of India from 1786 to 93. He was one of the most efficient Governor Generals of India who have changed the scope. His most important contribution was the Indian civil services. So Cornwallis, and also he was monumental and very in bringing down corruption in the British system. He increased the what do you call it, the salary of the collectors, the DMs and deputy commissioners, and he handled it very well, the corruption in the British system. So anyway, moving ahead, seeing that there is just two parties were at loggerheads, Travancore and Mysore, Cornwallis interferes. He brings in Maratha and Nizam along with them, this tripartite, and they attacked. Suddenly they attacked Mysore. Tipu Sultan was caught off-handed. He couldn't bear the blow, and Tipu Sultan was defeated in this war. This war led to a treaty which was signed in 1792, and this treaty is called Srirangapatnam Treaty. And according to this treaty, Tipu Sultan have to give away half of his kingdom to British. Now, this was half of what British have wanted. The anti-British, they wanted, the anti-Mysore, they wanted Tipu Sultan to be disseminated, so that there could not be a single rebel against the British Empire there. So, British did not wait there. In 1799, there was another war under Wellesley. Now, this condition was that it has been seen that Tipu Sultan was rather a bit more fond of the French, and Tipu Sultan sent Tipu sent ambassadors to countries like Turkey and France. So this was not seen with a very good eye in either British. The British saw that Tipu Sultan was going for an international alliance, and this could be very bad. It could blow up on the face of the British Empire and the British East India Company, and they knew they had to take a very strong chance against it. This was a reason that the British took up, and this led to the Fourth Anglo-Mysore War. In this fourth war, Tipu fought valiantly, but Tipu was killed. This is the War of Srirangapatnam. This is the War of Srirangapatnam War, and here Tipu Sultan was killed in 1799. His kingdom was annexed, and a portion of the kingdom was given to a minor from the Udayar family, the first family that have established itself, that have established Mysore kingdom. Udayar family, a minor was made a king, and a very minor part of the kingdom was given to them, and the rest was taken by the British. Now you can see that this is a very intelligent law always used by the British. They will always put up one man from the Indian team, so that the masses that are used to seeing a king of Indian origin keep seeing an Indian origin. Because the layman, they knew the layman who was walking in the farms, who was the artisan, उसका मतलब नहीं था कि मतलब कौन चला रहा है, administration कौन चला रहा है. They did not know much about how the administration was running. All they wanted to know. Remember, it is 18th century. This is not the new modern age. 18th century. उसमें they were like राजा दिख जाए बस वही है. And they saw Udayar back in the throne, and maybe this was a good sign for them. They said, okay, fine, we have an Indian king, doesn't matter. The British always used to do that. Remember when they took Bengal, they had Nizam-ud-Dawla as the son of Mir Qasim, the son of Yeah, the son of Mir Qasim, the son of Mir Zafar as the Nabab, whereas they had Raja Khan as a deputy subedar. Same thing was employed here also. They were made the king for namesake, and actual administration and revenue was in the hands of the British. Thus, we see that by 1799, the Britishers have very skillfully, and after 1799 we have Hyderabad, Mysore, Hyderabad, Mysore, Tanjore, all these places signing subsidiary alliance. What is subsidiary alliance? Okay, we will be looking into subsidiary alliance in a later class. Just keep in mind, Hyderabad, Tanjore and Mysore were enforced under subsidiary alliance. That is, the British almost got a paramount power over these places. Now let us see once again. Tanjore is the Tamil Nadu region. Mysore is this region. This is Hyderabad. 18 we'll have it. 1802 we will have a treaty of Basin, and within that Marathas will also sign the subsidiary alliance. We already have the northern region under British. So you can see the more or less India is under the British rule. The small provinces that are left, let's see, Travancore is already friends with British, so it's the same whether they come or not, and they have almost ended. Of course, the northern part was left, and Sikh and Balochistan, this part, and Jammu and Kashmir, this part is not yet under British. But by 1800, most of the India was under the British control, and thus its revenue, its trade, and everything was under British control. So with this, we come to an end to the lecture of Anglo Mysore wars. The next lecture will talk about the Anglo-Carnatic, Anglo-French rivalry. Along with that, we'll come up with the subsidiary alliance. Subsidiary alliance is one of the tool that was used. Well, it was the child of Wellesley, and we'll see how Wellesley used it very skillfully in a sinister manner to bind every Indian ruler under one roof and make them subjected to the British Empire, and British Empire becomes the paramount power under them. So that's it for today. Thank you. I hope you like it, and if you do like it, please to like,